Hi guys, so for this video, I'm going to give you some useful tips and tricks to help ease your arena grind. As you guys should already know, everyone's arena points have reset officially this week. Preseason was 2 weeks this time around, not 1, so it is finally time to grind. Now, just like with last season, Epic is only giving people about 3 weeks to reach Champions League before tournaments start. Not really a lot of time, right? Don't you worry though, because itsJerian is here with all the best strategies to maximize your arena points in the shortest amount of time possible. So take out a piece of paper, a pen, and make sure you pay attention, because this is my Chapter 2 7-season guide to dominating an arena and getting to champs. To start things off, I'm happy to say that Epic actually did the unthinkable and they changed the arena scoring format. It took like 8 long seasons. The last time they changed it was Chapter 2 Season 1, I think, maybe even Season X. But hey, better late than never. On your screen now is the new Chapter 2 Season 7 solo arena scoring format. Don't worry if you do not really see a difference. I could not tell you last season's format off the top of my head either. I'm gonna show the difference in like a minute, but just take my word for it. It is a huge change. You have a ton more placement thresholds available that are spread way more evenly throughout the match. Oh, and here's the comparison graphic that I was talking about. I basically yoinked this from Resub, I redid it myself, and on the left you have the new scoring format. This is for solos, remember. In the middle you have the old scoring format, and then on the right you have the difference from the old versus the new. With the old one, you only got placement points for top 25, top 15, top 5, and then the win. That was pretty dog schmeat looking back at it. If you could not get top 25 in a solo match, you basically got no points. Now, however, with the new one, you have added placement thresholds at top 50, top 35, top 30, top 20, top 10, top 3, and top 2.
But Jerian, those placement points get you way less compared to the old ones.
That is true, little Timmy. They drastically lowered the existing placement thresholds like top 25. Those arena points were slashed in more than half. That way, a win would still be the same amount of points. Just look at the bottom row. A win is 180 points on both the old format and the new one. Even elimination points are the same, for solos that is. For duos, we have a very similar change in terms of the placement thresholds. Previously, you racked up arena points for top 12, top 7, and top 3.
Dog schmeat again.
From today on, you have a bunch of additional placement thresholds that you can see. I'm not going to read them all out, but there's like 7 or 8 more, and they also made the new ones not a lot, so much so that a win is only worth 135 arena points. The old one was 180, just like solos. Therefore, to kind of make up for this nerf in placement points in team game modes, Epic made elimination points worth way more. Each elimination is now worth 15 points compared to the old 10, a pretty nice 50% increase. I will explain why this is so important in just a minute. Final little comparison piece is trios, and this is where things get really interesting. You see, in trios, you have an additional 7 extra placement thresholds. Epic added them in, lowered the remaining placements from all the ones last season. That way, again, you can only get 135 arena points for a win in trios. It used to be 180. And by the way, what I mean by this is that you basically reach all the placement thresholds, you win the game without getting any kills. So a 0 kill win is 135 points now. Alright, but what about kill points? Go look at the bottom of the graphic I made. Epic more than doubled the arena points you get from 1 elimination in trios, going from 7 to 15 points apiece. This means rather than needing 25 eliminations to get the same amount of points as a 0 kill win last season, you now only need 9 kills for the same amount of points as a win. That is absurdly low, and it's also how we're going to transition to the next part of the video. In pretty much every season I've made an arena guide, I've recommended you guys to play solos as it's usually the fastest and most optimal way to gain arena points. You only needed 9 kills compared to 18 in duos and more than 25 in trios. Well, now it is the opposite. Solos is by far the worst game mode to play if you're trying to gain arena points quickly. Just like I showed off in the chart, solos remains 9 eliminations for a 0 kill win. But guess what? Trios is also 9 kills per win. Just think about how much easier it is to do well in trios compared to solos. You now only have to wipe a measly 3 different trios compared to 9 different solo players. Not to mention, not only is it just easier to get more eliminations in trios, but it's also easier to stay alive and rack up those placement points.
But Jerian, didn't you say placement overall was more in solos? It's also spread out more evenly, so it should be more consistent in solos.
Yes, I did say that, little Timmy. Good catch. A 0 kill win is more points, just placement points, than a a 0 kill win in duos or trios, 180 versus 135 if you look at the chart. Additionally, in all game modes, yes, the placement points are way more spread out throughout the match. You can see this cool little chart. It shows the old one versus the new one. It's just so much more evenly and way nicer. Even while solos has more placement points total, you have to be realistic. It is so much easier to stomp kids in trios than it is to do in solos. You actually have a chance of getting revived or rebooted if you die in trios, which you just do not in solos. You lose the bus fare and you have to go to another game. So while it may seem like you should play solos because there is more placement available there, that is just not going to happen consistently, and it's why you see so many pros grinding trio arena. They know arena is going to play out the exact same as it has every other season. Everyone's just going to W key and no one will play for placement. That's why I recommend you play trios instead of solos or duos for arena. Trios on top, duos, then solos, yeah. Oh yeah, one thing I want to mention regarding the new scoring format is something I recently saw in a Fortnite competitive tweet. Word for word, they said, "Surprise, we made slight adjustments to the arena hype format for each game mode, solos, duos, and trios. These values are not set and they may adjust in the future." They also added on after that, "These are just the first changes we're making as we look to improve arena experiences in the future." This is kind of interesting as it does seem like Epic wants to fix arena mode. Deep down, they want to make it more competitive and they don't want to make it just a W key fest. But at the same time, it could mean this video may be entirely useless in the future. Like, I could see them changing the arena scoring format just out of the blue this season, and then maybe like duos would be the best thing to grind. Who knows? They can change it whenever they want, and they said they might just right there. Thus, go follow me on Twitter in case they do. I'll update you guys there, and also come back to this video in case I leave a pinned comment. For now though, trios are still on top like I just said. Onto the actual in-game strategy, let's start off with some tips and tricks for the early game. The early game, like I always say, is butt cheeks on a stick. There is so much RNG in it, and it's my job to help you guys eliminate that RNG. My first tip, regardless of whether you're playing solos, duos, or trios, is to find a good landing spot. An uncontested landing spot with good loot pretty much negates any sort of RNG in the early game. You no longer need high rarity loot off spawn, you don't need to find shield immediately, you don't even need to fight any fellow itsJerian subscribers. Don't you just love an uncontested landing spot? I recently uploaded a video with my top 7 landing spots in Chapter 2 Season 7. A few of them are primarily solo spots, but the rest of them do work for duos and trios, especially the new Discovery Dish spots. One thing I really like about Season 7 is that because there's no longer any sort of crafting, pretty much everyone has a lower tier pump. Like, remember in Season 6 when everyone was running around with a purple spaz? Or well, not everyone, but what it seemed like was everyone, because most people had mechanical parts at their landing spots, some just did not. This feeling of just everyone having a purple spaz and destroying you is no longer a thing in Season 7. We all have butt cheeks on a stick loot, and it's way more fair than just everyone having broken loot. Not to mention the fact that everyone is just vibing out with a lower tier tack or a lower tier pump. That makes these really small uncontested landing spots a lot more viable. You don't need 20 chests anymore for a good solo spot. You just need like 5 or 6. Oh, and that reminds me, if you do want to get way better shotguns without relying on chest RNG, then go to the Sunny NPC at Believer Beach. She usually spawns on the boardwalk, but sometimes she'll be on the sand by the beach, and she will sell either a purple spaz for 100 gold or a blue pump for 75 gold. Go watch my landing spot video for the full strat on how to get all that gold. You have to break a bunch of the washing machines, which are in certain locations at Believer Beach. I'm pretty sure Epic added a guy who sells a scar there as well now, so Believer Beach is busted. Another tip I have for the early game is to make use of all the new Season 7 features. For example, mending machines allow you to buy minis for 30 gold. 30! You spawn in arena with 50 gold, and it's really easy just to open a chest or break something and get 10 more gold. So if you're at any location with a mending machine, or really any spot on the map, you can get max minis right off spawn for nothing. And speaking of loot for free, do not forget that cosmic chests are available in duos and trios in arena. I originally thought there was only one of these on the entire map, but I don't think that's right. I'm pretty sure every single duo and trio has one available. They just have to find it wherever it is, and they give you ridiculous loot. Just make sure you have a teammate because they're not in solos, it's only duos and trios. You need your teammate to help you break it. Final tip I have for all the new features is to box any loot llama that you see on the map. You guys should know by now that llamas are kind of alive. They will run away from you and poop out loot as they do it. Most people I've seen have tried to shoot them and kill them as they run away. You would think they don't have too much HP because they're a loot llama and you have a gun, but no, they actually are stacked on HP. That is why my advice is to box them like a flopper, literally catch up to them as they run away, build all around them so they cannot escape, and then kill it that way. Moving over to the mid game, we have to talk about rotations. The fastest way to rotate in Chapter 2 Season 7 is with a car. Not just any car though, I'm talking about all the new IO cars that are insanely fast. These things pretty much spawn by default at any of the new locations, including Cordy Complex, and like I just said, they are the fastest cars in the game outside the Lambos. If you're not going to use one of the IO cars, or even if you do, make sure you throw some chonkers on them. Chonkers are the official name of the giant monster truck wheels that Epic added last season. They help you drive across terrain, and they make it a lot harder for you to get stuck. Throw some chonkers even on your Lambo. Outside of those changes, the mid game is pretty much the exact same as in every other arena season. This is going to be where you fight people. For those of you looking to improve your fighting, I would suggest getting to 6k points or more. Remember, you can still not derank out of Champions League. You're going to stay in it even if you go to like 2,000 points. You just have to reach 6k points once. But get to Champions League and then work on your fighting in the mid game. Additionally, I recommend watching my recent box fighting video. I talked about all the major mistakes people make while box fighting, and because most arena fights in the mid game seem to devolve into box fights, that's kind of just how the game is now. It's really important to know what mistakes you should not be making and how to avoid them. I cover everything in that video, so go check it out. Now, to finish off the video, the late game, this part is going to be really short because, like I just said, end games in Arena are so dead. I kind of also forgot it's going to be even more dead this season because there's 9 eliminations for a win in trios and solos. Oh my gosh. Moral of the story is nobody's going to be playing placement. My kind of general tips for the late game are to utilize launch pads if you still have one. Make sure you're paying attention to where zone is. You don't have to rotate too early because there will be some launch pads hopefully, and yeah, it should not really be too hard. As long as you actually follow all of these tips, including what I said earlier, you make a game plan of what game mode you're gonna play, who you're gonna play with, what you're gonna do, and how many people you're gonna kill. Remember, trios is the wave. Then you should easily be able to get to champions in Arena this season. itsJerian believes in you, and I really do think it's probably the easiest season. Thank you for making trios the way to go, Epic. If only I had friends. Overall, guys, that is my ultimate guide to gaining arena points in Chapter 2 Season 7. So if you enjoyed the video or you learned something new, do be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel somewhere down here, and to turn on my post notifications. Shout out to everyone on the screen for using code JERIAN. I appreciate each and every one of you so much. Even if you just use my code for a small purchase like an emote, something you do not think is that many V-Bucks, it really does go a long way, and I love each and every one of you who supports me. Otherwise, that's it from me, and I will see you guys in the next one. Later.